This week on Carlie's Couch, we talk about sexual desire. There are things that we can focus on for ourselves that will allow us to experience better desire and become more desirable.
Sexual healing, baby. Actually, I need to do a karaoke night soon.
Yeah, I'm coming too.
Oh, boy.
That's going to be a clip as well.
Hi, I'm Lextopia.
And I am Cece Fierce /
secretary.
Carlie Carpio.
My host with the most.
And if y'all watching the video, she definitely got on the most today.
We talking about sexual desire, so I'm trying to do a little something. A little something. Welcome to Carlie's Couch. Happy Monday or whatever day it is. Let's go ahead and start out with this question from the couch that so many of you answered. And the question was, what was the coolest experience you had that exposed you to a different culture?
I'm going to hit these first two. So I went to an Eritrean wedding a couple of weeks ago. And the ceremony, the dress, the hair, the dancing, they were telling us, what everything meant. And it was just so beautiful. Everybody was so warm and welcoming. So shout out to them. And then another one was when I was in Vietnam. We were like walking around and just exploring it, and Vietnam is on the lower end of the development scale for countries. And so like everybody was just like eating in the middle of the street and stuff. Then they'll move at night and people are on there, or no, they'll eat at night and then move during the day so people can go to work. So that was cool. But then there was like old uncles outside that were like brewing beer in their front yard, and we definitely sat on just some little tiny stools and they drank beer. I don't even like beer, but I felt like it was part of the culture. So I was like, oh, let me just like enjoy.
Cool. And to the first one too, any wedding that's of a different culture is always fire. I would like to go to a few different weddings.
I need somebody to marry an Indian person, so I can go to an Indian wedding.
African wedding, yeah, all of those are always cool. And then the second thing you said reminded me, I totally didn't think about this, but I had a friend, she's half Mexican, I believe, but we went to this random place. It wasn't far from here in LA, but it was like in the outskirts. And these people, I forgot what the name of the drink was, but like you milk the cow right into your cup, and then like they mix stuff in it and you drink it, and like everyone was just outside chilling, like doing this, and I'm like milking the cow, and it was just so random. But like there's so many pockets of like cultural things that you can find even without going out of the country. We had 3 folks mention Ghana and going to Accra or Accra. Please correct me on how you say the capital name. One said it was deeply sad, but definitely gave them a renewed sense of self, and I know that because of how they have those castles, and it's like the last place that people would see before they were out to slavery. There's a lot of spaces that you can go see where you can see the results and the things that happened because of colonialism and slavery. So a lot of people do say that it's sad, but it feels like it brings it all home. Somebody else said Afrochella, felt like it was home, never felt at ease like that, didn't realize what I was carrying every day in the stress. And then the last one with Ghana, they said they went to the Year of Return and they visited the Elmina slave castle as well.
Another person said that they loved learning about Santeria in Cuba.
That's cool.
Cuba. And that they loved every minute learning about the religion and the region and just everything. That was cool.
That's cool. Another one had said that where was it? Somebody said something about going to, the next one, an indigenous African school in Cuba. So that's probably really interesting as well. One other one was an indigenous village in Argentina. So I know like whenever you get to see like the real people of a space, that's always really interesting.
And it's always interesting because when I travel, I want to see and experience that. And also like, I don't want to like push touristy things and like mess them up. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting balance. Someone said interning as an electrical engineer in a salt mine in upstate New York, fun people.
That's another fun one because it's like just a random different group of people. And if you go like those West Virginia mines and stuff too, there's like a total different breed of people. So it is very interesting. One said visiting Pompeii. Another said their trip to South Africa and experiencing the market in Johannesburg.
Someone said eating in the Philippines with their teammates on banana leaves, which is called a Kamayan barbecue. It's traditional.
Okay. Filipina. And I think this was since my friend said mission trip to South Africa. So I think it's always cool people going to different countries in Africa, especially for Black Americans, because you feel like you can kind of connect to something. I think for me, one of my the coolest like exposures to total different culture would have been in Eastern Europe, in Romania when I was 16. And probably mostly because I was in communication with like children. So I was hanging out with like children, like 16-ish and a little bit younger, and just seeing like how much gratitude they had and how excited they were for life, even though one of the girls was like going blind and couldn't take care of herself. One girl was like, couldn't afford the bus to go to school and all these different things. So I remember that being a really, really big point where I recognized how blessed I was and the things that we have here. And it also made me mad at the type of culture that we have here that takes advantage of those things. Like these folks would give us like their last of anything, you know, very happily and joyfully. And so I think that was one of the first times I really experienced that. And it really changed my mindset about just about how I view the things that I have.
Yeah, that's tough too. But I think it's always beautiful to experience new cultures, and you don't even have to leave the States to really do that. There are so many places here too that you can go explore. So go do that.
All right, and now to explore
Sexual desires.
Today we talk about how we can own our sexual desires, the power behind like your desires and how you can let all of that work for you. And I think a lot of times we're sidelined by that, right? You know, we want to be wanted so badly, or you might want something so badly, but I think we don't realize that sometimes we're kind of blocking that. We can create environments where we don't feel indesirable, or we're making ourselves kind of less desirable in certain spaces. And so we're going to talk about like how to kind of create that environment for desire to grow, to evolve, to happen.
And when we talk about desire, we mean sexual, and it is the feeling of being turned on, of wanting someone, of feeling wanted, and so all romantic and sexual desire.
When's the last time you felt that?
Today, yesterday, every day, all the days. What about you?
Well, I'm ovulating right now, so like honestly, yesterday I was like, I was about to send out a few messages, but I think I know that was because of my hormones. But I was like, well, I felt like I look good, and I just wanted to feel that like kind of a spark or connection. But I don't have any like real like stories of like, oh my gosh, like I really felt like with a specific person or anything like that at this second.
When do you feel desire the most, or like when are you most drawn to a partner?
I think I feel desire the most when I feel good, when I feel like I look good, when my confidence is high, then that's when it's easier for me to, when I'm out and about, you have a different air because like I know I look good right now. And so you feel good. You're more smiling and you might be more flirty and with a little talking to people and like, you know what I mean? Like when you feel good, you're carefree. And I think people see that vibe. They can see that you're not like tight or like kind of going through it or whatever, because we can wear that on our faces a lot. What about you? When do you feel desire?
I love what you said, like whenever you feel good about yourself, like when I'm taking care of myself, when I'm well rested, when I'm not hungry, when I'm not stressed out and have a bunch of stuff going on, or when I have already handled all of my things. I also feel like really sexy and feel good like when I just do that shit, like whenever I like accomplish something and do really well, or and really working in my purpose, like when I'm celebratory, when I've like achieved something big or like won something, like I'm like, oh, like I'm excited, I want to celebrate.
And something else that I always feel my best too, which is weird. Like I always feel my best when I'm like real fresh, like without any makeup on, and like I'll just look in the mirror and be like, wow, like I feel like I look so good. And then as soon as you like try to take a picture, or like
it does not look like that.
Yeah, or if you just step out like raw like that, you be like, I look sleepy as hell or whatever. But I don't know what it is, but it's something about like I feel like I look the best then. But then something changes, I don't know, when I'm trying to like capture it. And yet I think it's interesting because a lot of guys or people, when you're talking about being sexually attracted to people, will be like, wow, like that's when they really see you, right? So it's like other people I feel appreciate seeing you more than maybe we do sometimes. But I think the biggest ingredient is you feeling comfortable with that, right? Like how you just look rolling over or whatever.
And I think that's like, cause you're bare, you're vulnerable, you're, yourself, you don't feel done up. And like, maybe, you're wearing that confidence. Like you just get out the shower and like, I think you look good.
We've just overdone it to where it's like, you do look fine and you do look cute, like without doing anything else. Right. What about now? Like how you feel most drawn to the partner?
So there's a quote that says that like foreplay is everything that happens between the last time that something happened. And so everything. And so I feel most drawn to a partner when they are intentional with me, when they hold space and listen to me, are attentive, when they're playful and curious, and when we're doing new things together or exploring and going on adventures, when we're laughing. I love physical touch. So hand on my lower back, you holding my hand, touching my shoulder, like just letting me know you're here with me is always whenever I feel like the desire peak.
Yeah, that playfulness, that like they're just paying attention to you. Similarly, like for me, it's like just things that kind of keep that small connection kind of going. But also for me, I'm very much turned on when I see somebody in their zone, when they're being confident, like if they're a construction worker and I'm seeing them going with the drill, I'm be like, ooh, you killing that. You killing that, boo. Like whatever, right? They driving the bus, they're like whipping that joint.
But in their zone.
Sometimes even too, like the way people drive, sometimes like the way they're handling, a machine or whatever, like that could turn you on. People build things with their hands. Look, men being men.
Cooking for me, I'm a sucker for that. Like loving on me in different ways, physical, different things. Just being there, like you said, small connections.
But seeing them do things that they know they do well, but then sharing that with you and doing that for you, because it's like I like feeling like you want to impress me, that you want to put effort into it, right? That's important for me. And so all of those things will make me, will turn me up, because I feel like I'm being appreciated and we're sharing something together.
Yeah, thoughtfulness, a little bit of thoughtfulness goes such a long way. Oh my God.
And then you be blown, because it's like, why don't you think about certain things? Like for me, I know how I think about things, and then I'd be pissed off when other people don't think the same way. So that's just a matter, I think, of finding like the right person and what you need. And I think in my relationships, that's what I always kind of continue to learn, like, well, what exactly is the important things that make me feel good in the relationship, or keep me turned on. Because as soon as I do have to, like, and I'm saying have to as if I didn't choose to, but as soon as you kind of got to be like, dang, you're not gonna clean up, we're not gonna do that, and you start nagging and stuff, like the desire is like gone, because now I'm like your mom, and it changes things, the way they see you. It changes the way I feel when I'm around you. Like, why is everything messed up? And so at that point, it's like you've kind of substituted desire for a different type of dynamic and relationship. And I think I'm definitely learning what types of personalities or qualities kind of lead towards that, and what I actually need them to be able to come to the table kind of with, so that I don't feel like I have to fall into that space.
And I think that that's so important, and something that we do not take into consideration, but I guess you can't really know until you're there, right? You have to date so you can learn these things. But that's actually what sparked this idea for this episode. I was listening to Esther Perel talk about desire, and something she said is like, it's not always your partner's job to turn you on. And I think in relationships, it can become very easy to be like, man, he never turns me on. He never does this, or blame the other person. Man, she never tries for me. But it's like, are you trying for yourself? And then this idea of owning our desire, like we own, our own sexual turn-ons. We own our own desires. And, what does that look like to be responsible for your own desire?
I think what it looks like is also not just that you're coming to the person or to the situation hoping they turn you on, but also that you come to the situation not looking for the negative. Let me say that differently. Sometimes you have to decide, like, okay, let me smile and show up a certain way, even if you may not be feeling quite like that, or let's say you might be going through something with your partner or whatever. But I've noticed that, well, if I pick up the phone like, hey, or like, like whatever, then they kind of like, then everything's. But if I'm like, hey, even if I'm not quite feeling it, but I know I want to get it, make it a space where I want us to be in a space that feels good right now. And then I have to bring that to the table myself. I have to smile and flirt. And sometimes we have to do that instead of waiting for them to hopefully feel that way. Because sometimes they're scared or nervous, or like, I don't know what mood you're in, or, whatever. Right. And so the way you show up is, what was the actual question? How to own your desire?
Yeah. How to own your desires. Like, what does that look like?
I think it's you deciding how you want to show up and continuing to show up that way, regardless of the things going on, and how you have conversation, even if it's to address an issue or something.
Yeah. I think that desire is an ebb and flow. Like, you're not going to be turned on 24/7. Like, hormones be crazy,
Yeah,
life be
absolutely
life
not.
in.
Yeah.
And it's really hard sometimes to be turned on whenever your money ain't right, whenever your relationships ain't right, you just got fired, something happened. You like, I don't want to do this right now. This is not what's going on. But I think thinking about, you know, your ideal self and how you want to show up for your partner, like, and for yourself, like, what does that look like to make sure that your cup is always full so you can show up full for them? Because for me, it's not just like sex, like romantic desire too, like wanting to be around my partner, all of that. And I realize how hard that is sometimes to hold space for them and to show up for them the way I want to whenever I'm not taking care of myself. And so
and that leads also to like a resentment a lot of times when you feel like you're kind of catering to like helping them feel good or feel better, but then it kind of feels like, well, am I getting that treatment? Or, well, I don't really feel that great myself. And it's like, well, actually, maybe you should be refocusing yourself. Yeah. In a way that you're at a better place to then kind of work with them. But being selfish is always a good thing, I think. And just because you say that doesn't mean that means you're an a-hole to everybody or whatever. It just means you understand what you need and you're at least able to take accountability of like, okay, well, I need a little more space, or, you know, maybe let me go to dinner by myself tonight, or let me hang out with my friends because maybe y'all are doing too much and it's kind of smothering each other and don't have space, whatever it may be. But look at what you need, and I think you can own your desires by doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you truly can do the things you want to do, and sometimes, so let's say to get real, not real freaky, but like just to wild us out, you might be maybe interested in somebody else, and like there's ways to do whatever you want to do, and you actually like communicate and are honest with people, right? Like I could express like, hey, I'm actually interested in this. I've actually done it before. I expressed like I'm interested in this, and they were like, okay, well, you know, you can figure out what you want to do. Like, go ahead and explore it, figure out what you're trying to do, and let me know. But it's like you could sneak around, you could do whatever, or you could just own what you want, own what you want to try to do. Maybe. And express that, and when you really express it and step into it, it's like, I don't know, anything that kind of happens from that is like, at least you're spoke up, you know, you communicated.
And so that's one of the biggest ways that I think you can own your desires is first like understanding yourself and checking in and being honest. I think that it's so easy for us to be socialized into wanting to show up with what our partner likes. Like they might have a kink or they might have a thing that they like, but maybe we don't really like that thing, but we want to do it because they want to do it. Or as women, like we're so socialized y'all need to get some just bidets. Show up, bro. We're so socialized. Shut up. We're so socialized
extra cleanup for all the stuff y'all be wanting. I'm sorry.
And please men or please our partners, right? That's what we do. We want to show up and please you, but we never really sit with what we want ourselves. And so I would say like the first part is really sitting with yourself, and like there's all these quizzes about kinks, and it doesn't even have to be kinks or anything like that, but really just sitting with what you like and what you want, and then being able to communicate that
and demand what you want and need, because a lot of times people are eager to do that for you, and they want you to feel good, which is a key to hopefully like an actual good partnership. And then B, especially a lot of women I notice too, don't really know their bodies. They don't know what they like. And so it's very important for you to know yourself and know what turns you on, and know what you like and what you want to do. And to, again, boldly do that and boldly step into those spaces. Because also we'll get around a partner, around somebody, and then it's like you get all like, and it's like, just, you know, practice. Like, even if you have to have an alter ego or something, or you got to hype yourself up, because sometimes we do have to do that. It feels funny sometimes, I think, taking control, and also sometimes we don't want control, right? Like I have to think about people all day and manage people and all kind of stuff, right? I don't want to have to think about all that when I'm with a partner. And so just understand yourself and know yourself, so that you at least can help your partner, and you guys can like actually manage like that your desires are met.
Yep. So knowing yourself, exploring yourself, communicating it with your partner boldly, making sure you ask for what you want. We talked about taking care of yourself, making sure that your cup is full so you can show up in those ways. Like having intimacy with yourself before you have it with other people. Like making sure that is fulfilled, and then you can be full and show up playful and sexy, because a big part of desire is like the playfulness, the mystery, the waiting, the anticipation, like those parts. And you can't do that whenever you're not feeling good about yourself.
Yeah, you really can't. When you're coming into something and you're already a little like, they don't do this, or he ain't dressed up tonight or whatever. Like, I don't know, if you could come in and be a character out of a movie or a book, like, it really does help. And that's why a lot of people do like role plays and stuff like that, and they like that. But it's a lot of factors that can block us from just like really expressing and trying those things. And what's crazy sometimes is that it's easier to do that with people who don't really fully know you. Like sometimes when, like, if you're in a relationship and it's been a while, I think it's harder to like spice it up later, because it's like, dang, like you're in such a trap of like however y'all feel, or being blah, or I worked all day and I'm just going to my side of the bed, or whatever it is, right? But like it's kind of harder to juice it up later. And so to maintain this kind of level of playfulness and curiosity, especially playfulness, is one of the most important things. And to go back to the beginning, like that is something that super turns me on. Like when you can just be playful with the person and like keep it light, like that's so important. So laugh and joke and all of those things, big keys.
And I think the last part of that, like, is the heaviness that comes into relationships because we expect our partner to be everything for us, and they expect the same out of us, and that just doesn't work. So that's why it's so important to have that network of friends, to have other people that you can call and complain about your day sometimes, because when that's all they hear from you, that is not sexy every day.
It ain't.
And bruh.
And getting cute to go hang out with your friends too, because like you taking pictures with your girlfriends and y'all cute, and it's like
damn,
it don't gotta be just for you, like that I'm getting cute. So yeah, I think that's important for sure, to like have these different spaces. Like it take a village to satisfy you. It really does. However you want to take that. But like, pay attention to that. And also like, yeah, you can't put all your eggs into that one bucket. Like make sure everybody getting a little piece of the sexiness. Like we all deserve.
We do. We do.
Yeah. Do what you need to do.
Lexi, look, y'all should watch the video. She's sharing her sexiness right now. But then this last part, I was re-listening to the Esther Perel thing. And I know, come on, stop. Okay. So we always think about our turnoffs. Like, what are your top turnoffs, or what are the things that shut you down with partners? And she encourages people to think about it instead of like, when you notice in you're in a space where you're not desired, all these things, instead of thinking about what do they do to turn me off, or what are my turnoffs, like instead of like thinking about, what did she say? Instead of like you turn me off, it's I feel turned off when I shut down when, and then notice like what that emotion is and what that is. So then you can help mitigate that as best you can. And that's not to say that 100% of this is on you. You know, your partner definitely has to show up too. But instead of always putting things on them, you can think I shut down when I feel turned off when someone is inconsiderate with me, when they don't listen to me when I'm talking to them, when they're not present with me. I shut down and I do not feel sexy whenever I don't feel good about myself. And then so you can like work on that on your side.
And along with those things, like I know for me, like I feel shut down if I'm not getting like a certain level of connection. If I'm trying to be playful and I'm just like not getting it back, or it's like, okay, I'm not here or whatever, like that's a big thing. Because also what that exercise does, it tells you what's important to you. So like that then triggers like you maybe not being good enough, or am I not desirable? I don't look good. Oh my gosh, I do need to lose a few pounds, or and I think those are the first things that I might start to think when it's like, dang, like they act like they don't really like me anymore, like they don't see me. One of the worst things is like when you get cute and then like everybody else say something except the person that you might be with or whatever, and it's just like, okay, like but to that same vein, I've been in like in my past relationship where they would always like every time I stepped out the bathroom or stepped out dressed, and they would be like, woo, or say something. And I remember right now, I feel so embarrassed in those moments. And I would feel so like, ugh, and like, don't look at me. And like, but now thinking about it, it's like, dang, but then later you're like, oh shoot, I wish I still had that, because I should have been able to embrace that. But that tells you what you're thinking about yourself, really. And it just felt so awkward. And like they do all the time, or like try to take pictures of me all the time. And that's when I'm like, ooh, I can't take pictures. But if I'm by myself, I can take a selfie or whatever. And it's just like, why? I don't like, really at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I don't like how I look, or I don't like, whatever about yourself. And so that's kind of goes back to what we're saying about is kind of your responsibility, like how you're framing how you feel about yourself. And, if I don't think I'm sexy, then it kind of snowballs into, well, you ain't sexy, right? And then you just wearing sweatpants around and blah, blah, blah. So I think that is really important to understand when you're turned off, but like also what is that kind of saying about you and what you're thinking.
And so spend some time this week thinking about your desire and how you can be more intentional. If you know how to please yourself first, what does your self-intimacy game look like? And then how you want to show up for your partner.
Game. Look, light some candles.
Take a bath, like
put on a playlist.
Do you feel sexy for yourself? Because that's really where everything starts. And I don't think that we're ever taught about those things. Like, we were all so shamed about our sexuality and feeling these things, but it's so beautiful and it's so fun, and it's something that we should absolutely be intentional about.
For sure, one thing this year that I've been actually very intentional about since I was in the islands, before I would go out anywhere, I'm like, let me make sure I put some jewelry on now. Like, it's something small, but it's like, let me actually do a little bit more when I'm going out, instead of, because I'm real like simple. Like, I'm just a top and jeans or top and bottom type girl, really. But I'm like, let me think a little bit more about like another layer or a little something to do that's extra. Yeah, and it makes a difference. Like, just doing a little bit more. So think about what you need to do to feel good. And I encourage you to also, like Carlie said, get your self-intimacy game up, but also like get yourself real nice and just like go out somewhere, go walk around the mall, go, whatever.
Go to the gas station.
Don't go to the gas station, child. They're going to be like, hey, sweetheart. They're going to hate sweetheart you to death.
You having a bad day.
Jesus Christ. They're going to hate sweetheart you to death. You can go up in there doing whatever and they're going to get you. But yeah, like do what you need to do, right? And also for those of you who have a partner or somebody already, think about like where y'all at now on y'all's like playful game or, flirting and just how can you keep that going, right? How can you kind of drop all the baggage to come like light and happy and excited and in a way that it's easy for them to reciprocate and easy for them to feel good and easy to make them want to please you, like when we have an attitude and all that, sometimes it'll make them want to do nothing for you. And then we get more of an attitude because we want you to do something. So it's hard and it feels unfair sometimes that it's like, well, why I gotta be the one smiling and stuff, but at least try and see what happens. I think it makes a big difference.
Catch more flies with honey. So hit us this week. Be so intentional about your self-care, self-pleasure, all that.
Yes. And see you next week.
Goodbye, y'all.